to even where I live, which is about 70 kilometers downstream. I don't mind that. Once the government declares it, then let's proceed. That is the compulsory acquisition provision. People will be moved from one point to another point.
So you accept
being given.
that under Article 62, that this then is a water catchment area that should be held in trust for all Kenyans by the national government if they went ahead and produced what, a cabinet?
Yeah, they should proceed
document?
And do a cabinet memo.
A cabinet memo.
Let the cabinet pass it, bring a bill to parliament to declare the area, to annex the area, and declare it now a national government, either forest or whatever it is, and gazette it. And now say this is now under the auspices of
You should
KFS.
gazette it as such.
As of now, KFS has no business interfering with people's land. No opinion of any group of individuals can become law. Not even the views of a prime minister, not even the views of the president will become law. No.
Why do you think that has not happened, the formality of it?
The formality hasn't been done.
Why do you think that has not happened?
I think there's been quite a bit of carelessness and a bit of chest stamping on the part of the previous ministers, whoever they have been in charge. And then it gets clouded in politics. And that's why we've been saying, let's participate.
Is it carelessness or interests?
Yeah?
Is it carelessness or interest? Because what is happening with this debate past the Masai Mau Trust Land is people are talking now about the entire Mau complex and who owns what there.
Who owns what is really irrelevant. Like, for instance, when we developed the SGR, we never discussed who owns which land. We said the SGR starts from Mombasa all the way to where it is in Narok, and it is passing through Anne Giguta's farm, and therefore Anne Giguta's farm will have to be compulsorily acquired according to the procedures of law. And no one is shouting about Ilipita Shambayango. No. The point I'm saying is, if indeed government wants Masai Mau, that's a good idea. Go ahead. We must. You can even expand it even more. You can come all the way to half of Bomet. But now, follow the law. That's what we are saying.
Let me ask you this. In 2005, there were about 10,000, I think, people, 10,000 actually, who were forced out of the Masai Mau by government. And that same year, the Ministry of Lands estimated that less than 2,000 squatters deserved compensation as bona fide purchases of land at that time. How did we move from these 10,000 to now more than 60,000 families living in that area?
I think that was an understatement even then, because there was no proper profiling. And even now, even that statement of 60,000 families, I don't think is the accurate situation. You know, this is an area where we have got 3 members of the county assemblies. This is an area that has schools. This is an area that has assistant chiefs. This is an area that has several other government infrastructure.
So there are more than 60,000 families there.
Including roads. And even there is even a road that was officially launched by the president in that area. There is the last mile connectivity in that area. And then all of a sudden government said, no, this is a forest. Can you all go away? How do 3 wards migrate? Where to?
There are those who feel that you've talked about conservation and that it is necessary and that there is need for a legal framework for that. But there's some who say, you're just speaking from both sides of your mouth, and you're doing this because most of the residents of that area are actually from Bomet, which is, so these are your people, correct?
Yes,
those are
that's
the people
true.
Who are there.
But the point here is that they are not just Kipsigis in that area. We also have Masai. We have got the Dorobos there. We have got even the Kikuyu. We have got Gusii.
And some of those populations are the ones who are being seen to be the first ones to actually leave in this current removal of persons from the area. Those are the communities that are living.
Like I saw, there was a Maasai group that was seen to be moving. And I know them, I even know their names, and I know where they live. They just live 1.5 kilometers away from the forest, and they graze in the forest. So on that day that they were focusing on television, there was they stage managed a movement from the forest where they normally take their cows to, and then they took them across, and then they went and locked them in their farm.
Do you need law?
So there was no real movement.
You're saying it was stage
managed. What I want to say is this: we need a law, not even a law, a declaration. A very clear declaration that must be in conformity with the procedures of law. And then the government should move forth, do public participation.
Let's talk about the titles. The Ndongo Land Commission, held that, quote, sanctity of title depends on its legality and not otherwise. It goes on to say, in fact, there is no such concept at common law as an absolute title. No such thing exists. Also, the Prime Minister's task force, though you say it is an opinion, said, quote, in the Masai Mara Trust Land Forest, all title deeds for parcels of land encroaching in the Masai Mara Trust Land Forest should also be revoked. Is that more opinion to you?
Yes, they are saying they should be revoked. So how do you go about revoking them? Do you just wake up and say they are paper titles? Remember, I think about 2 weeks ago, I saw an article by Mr. Mwaita, who was the then Commissioner of Lands, and he said, we did all that was necessary to be done under the existing laws at that time, and that everything was approved by government. The point I'm saying here is that government could have erred, but it does not take away the responsibility of successive governments from honoring it, that another government did this. And if the issue has to be remedied, you don't go punishing the ordinary citizens. You say, no, this was a mistake by government, Kenya government. Doesn't matter whether someone else was leading it or not.
But in spite of
the point here is we can actually remedy the situation. Yes, we believe it is possible to remedy the situation.
But in spite of what he said, the Prime Minister's task force again said that none of the 22 blocks of the forest, including the Masai Mara Court, have been fully surveyed. So how can there be legitimate titles to land that has not been fully surveyed?
Yes.
Doesn't that mean that those titles then are fraudulent in some kind?
That means even the fellow saying it was ballooned is admitting that there was never any surveying. So if there was never any surveying,
then there is no valid title?
No, not necessarily that. It does not invalidate the settlement of the people. In fact, it even fortifies the claim by the locals that they have been living there, that they lived there. There was actually no surveying. You cannot say this land was 2,000 acres because it was 2,000 hectares on the basis of which survey.
Having said that, since you're agreeing that there was a mistake, which government are you holding responsible for this? Is it the Kibaki government?
The Kenya government. And the Kenya government is perpetual. The Kenya government.
True, but which administration?
No, we can't go in that direction. I'm talking about the Kenya government, which is permanent. There is perpetual succession.
But there is the question of accountability. So is it the Moi government, for instance?
You can't talk about Moi because the administration, the structure of government is not a Kibaki. You can't hold Kibaki for it. You cannot hold even Uhuru Kenyatta for everything that is happening in this country. Look at corruption. What's happening? Are you going to hold Uhuru Kenyatta responsible for the corrupt practices all over the place?
So findings, we talked about how land had been dished out to political cronies during the Moi administration. What do you make of that?
The same was done during the first Kenyatta administration. The whole of Rift Valley, in fact, why you are finding pressure of land on the South Rift is because there was pressure from people who migrated from Central Province downwards to Nakuru. And they were settled by a government headed by the first president of this republic. And you cannot say nonsense, get out, get lost. No.
When does accountability then begin for you?
They were settled by a government of Kenya. Since 1963, all governments are legitimate governments of this republic.
But is there individual responsibility in governments?
Individual responsibility in government relates to your specific individual action. But when it is a collective activity within government, there is no one you are going to hold.
Is there such a thing as collective government? Yes, for instance, if it's a title of land, where would that come from?
Let me tell you, if cabinet approves it, it is you are not going to hold any individual
minister. You're saying everybody is guilty, nobody is responsible?
Yes, everybody is guilty. The only thing where we are right now is to remedy the problem. We must reverse the degradation of the environment everywhere in this
And you remedy it by your specific recommendation as we go to break?
In fact, the Prime Minister's task force had made several reasonable recommendations, including compensation of the people, relocating the people, those recommendations were
It
there.
only talked about third-party purchases for
Yes.
value being, so only
Yes.
those. And
Third
it was
party.
less than 9 million shillings, I believe.
No. Third party, all these people settled there, the 60,000 families are third party purchasers of
All
land.
of them?
Yes, they are third party purchasers of land sold by individuals who were first allocated the land and which title was issued by the Ministry of
That's
Land.
not what the task force found. It found that that applied to less than a third of those who had settled in the Masai
I would like
Mara.
them to show us who are these one-third they are talking about.
If there is a legal provision in place, and if this one-third are compensated, you'd be happy.